There we go.
Okay.
Here.
Okay. Hi, Danny. How are you?
Hey, Heather. It's good to be here with you guys. We just did workout number 2, and that was a doozy. I knew that going in, but man, that was fun doing it with the crew. So
nice.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Fantastic. We're gonna ask Danny some questions today with our challenge that we're having. Some of our athletes are having some symptoms that we're wondering if they're normal.
Yeah.
If they're normal.
Yeah.
Normal. So I've got some minor headache and tired.
Yeah. So we discussed a little bit this morning too. This kind of day 5 to day 12-ish is really a big detox time, and it happens on multiple levels. It's emotional, it's metabolically, as well as psychologically. So there's a couple of big things that happen. What you guys are experiencing is totally normal, and that's why if you guys saw the week 1, or week 2, what to expect that came out yesterday, it was, hey, are you feeling like garbage? Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
The reason being, number one, metabolically, a lot of us are learning how to live off of a different energy source instead of simple carbohydrates and sugars. We're learning how to live off a little more fat-based, good healthy fats and protein. So metabolically, your body's going through this really strange transition. Number 2 is psychologically, on a brain chemistry level, sugar is more addicting and stimulating than cocaine. They've done all the studies on that. So when you remove that, it's totally normal to feel off, right? It's not just that chocolate tastes good. There's a thing, it gets you, right? As well as the gliadin from wheat. It's a piece of wheat, it's within gluten, and it actually works like an opiate receptor, so it goes in and it stimulates your brain in ways that opiate does, right? So you're dealing with these brain chemistry things that when you remove it, it's totally normal. People call it flu, detox, gliadin withdrawal. There's all these different things going on at the same time. So your headaches, part physical, part metabolic, part brain chemistry, right? So make sure you're drinking a lot of water. Okay. That's a big piece. Get enough water. And that's part of why the fatigue is happening. And then kind of the next question you said was low energy.
Low energy, yes.
So yeah, the low energy could part of it could just be that new metabolic state. You're going through that, you're adjusting to new foods. The other big piece a lot of people don't realize is, let's say you're eating 2,000 calories, and let's say 500 calories of those were like with processed wheat and sugar products, and you remove those 500 calories. Well, you're used to your energy levels being at 2,000 calories, and now you only have 1,500, and you haven't added any good foods back in. So one of the challenges is, if I remove that garbage, what can I then put in to replenish it? So making sure you're getting enough vegetables, fruits. Don't be scared of fruit, especially after working out. Like get those in you. Your body needs it, and they need some good carbs and sugars that are available to give you some extra energy. So if you're feeling really like slow motion groggy, make sure you're getting enough calories. If you're hungry, eat just the right stuff. This is not a starvation diet. That's not what we're going for. The other thing is try to eat a higher percentage this week of carbohydrates. Make sure you're getting enough carbohydrates, the good kinds. So sweet potato, squashes, vegetables, fruits, things like that. And if you're going to hit some meals at pro level strategically, get some good, quinoa or some brown rice, things like that, a little bit more mixed in, and get that the glycogen stores back up in your muscles. Because if you're doing too few, your muscles are going to kind of run out of energy a little bit, and you're going to feel fatigued. So totally normal stuff. I know that was a lot of science stuff, but it's again this is a process that everybody goes through, so you're not weird. And don't be afraid to tell, you have Tony, you have your husband to go through this with you. If you guys haven't recruited somebody at home, make them be your ally, not the person who's trying to run away from you while you're a detox monster. So it's totally normal.
While you're craving your sugar.
Yeah.
I have a lot of sugar cravings, including myself, taking those little sugars that we didn't even know were in half of the stuff that we were consuming, taking that out of our diets. Well, adding this fruit back in there is a good way to kind of curb that sugar craving. Even though on the elite plan it says in moderation. So if you could clarify for me and maybe for others, like what's considered moderation? Like if you have it once a day, is that moderation, or shall you keep it down to having the honey and the maple and the fruit, things like that on the elite plan, keeping it down to moderation? What is that?
Moderation is kind of a fancy word for don't go crazy, right? If it's green, don't eat it all the time, right? So where people get in trouble with fruit is that it's very easily accessible and it's easy to overdo because it does taste so good. So unless you're eating 6 apples a day, I'm not, you don't worry. If you're eating 3 apples a day, that's going to be fine. The one thing to keep in mind for fruit is if you're going to eat a higher quantity of fruit, do it with fruits that you're eating the peel, the whole fruit. So things like apples and berries, right, are going to be better, lower glycemic, and have more fiber than things like pineapple, papaya, bananas, things like that. So it's a lot easier to overdo those fruits. Now those fruits can still be valuable post-workout, where you're needing some extra carbohydrates and things like that. And that's fine, but so moderation is just careful. Kind of like nuts. They're totally healthy, but it's real easy to eat 6 servings of nuts in one handful, right? So that's the same principle. So definitely use fruits, and don't be scared to have them at night. If you're having a sugar craving and you're like, man, I am going to go nuts, have some berries before you go to sleep. No problem. Put some honey on a little scoop of almond butter, a small one, and eat that before bed and kind of kill that, almost like a fake Reese's, right?
Yeah,
right?
Okay.
So don't be afraid to use some of those tools to get good nutrients in a way to fight the cravings, because sometimes that's all we need is just that little tick, right, of a good option, and that will help a lot. And know that the cravings will subside, the taste buds will change. It takes about 21 days for kind of taste buds to adjust, so just keep sticking with it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We have one other athlete that brought up the constipation. Is this like a reboot of the digestion, the intestinal tract, or do you think that they're just not consuming enough water?
Right.
Maybe possibly not fruits, having enough fruits and vegetables, maybe.
Right. I'm not a GI doc, right?
Yeah.
But from our guys that are on the team we've talked to, this is normal. The bowel's going through either side of that spectrum, right?
Sure.
Because again, you're getting used to new foods. Sometimes we're getting 5 times as much fiber as we were before, because now we're eating more vegetables, more fruits, and that can kind of like wreak a little havoc. And then your flora of bacteria in your intestines will start changing now that maybe cutting out dairy and cutting out wheat, and so now all of a sudden there's different things going on there, and your body's kind of cleansing it out. Again, I think that goes back to that first one of headaches. Make sure you're drinking enough water, because a lot of us maybe we're drinking tons of tea or soda or fruit juice or whatever it was before. We take that out, water doesn't taste as good, so we're just not drinking enough. So hydration is key to kind of the whole thing. Stick with it. If you need to take extra fiber supplement or take some extra flaxseed or hemp seed, something like that, just again keep it going. But I'd say the hydration thing for sure. But it can really, our intestines are a very dynamic thing, I think, more than we ever realized, and they react to food. So again, your whole system, top to bottom, your skin's gonna feel different, your intestines are gonna work different, your stomach's gonna feel different. So that's all kind of part of that process. If it's still struggling within a week or two and it's not quite right, then you could relook at some things. But for right now, definitely stay hydrated.
Okay. And I have one other question about whey protein.
Yeah.
Like I had some athletes ask me why you can't have whey protein. I think it's on the elite plan, which I had already said most whey protein supplements have is it
Cellulose or
how do you say that?
Sucralose. Right.
So it has that added sugar in it, which people aren't looking at the ingredients. And I pointed out to one athlete, it's like, okay, don't look at just the macro because it says no sugar. Look at the ingredients because the hidden sugar that's in there. Is that the only reason why? And is it also a dairy? Is whey protein dairy?
Right. Yes.
Okay.
Great question. So there's two pieces there. It's really, really hard to find a totally clean protein that is not dairy, that doesn't have extra stuff. There's a few out there. But because of that, we make the exception of, look, post-workout, it's a little different story. There's some specific needs we have, so we have the allowance of whatever protein source you want. If it's in a bar that has more than, I believe it's 12 grams of protein, or a protein shake, you're free game within that 30 minutes post-workout, whatever protein source you want. Now, try to keep it as clean as possible, but yeah, a big problem with a lot of the products out there, on the sugar side, there's tons of extra sugar to make it taste good, or like in a sucralose type of situation, it's fake sugar. So again, we're trying to go about changing how we look at food, and so the back of the label is just as important as the front. And with whey particularly, a lot of people don't realize how much dairy affects their system, whether it's their bowels or how they feel, their skin, energy levels, all of that inflammation. And just because it's either a hydrolyzed or super pure whey, you're still getting dairy components in there. It's keeping it unscientific, or say it like that, is you're still getting that issue. And a lot of people find that when they stay away from dairy, they, including whey, it does really good things for their body. So again, if you need it, fine. I also encourage you to look at some different types of protein. I personally have been taking a non-dairy one for a while, kind of a vegetarian based. I'm not vegetarian, but my stomach handles it much better, and it got stevia sweetener. So play around with it. If you're somebody who, and that's why we encourage to. You don't have to be elite forever your whole life, but it's good for a period of time to do that and to see how your body responds.
Sure.
So again, free game right after you work out, whatever. We always try to say keep it as clean as possible because your body's going to thank you for it.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Same thing. I think we already went through the honey and maple syrup moderation on the elite.
On elite, it's 2 tablespoons per day, right?
Okay, 2 tablespoons per day. Okay.
And once you go over that, whatever meal you go over, then it turns into pro from then on. Right.
Okay, good.
And you'll find it for people who are doing sugar a lot. It's a different sweetness, right? It's a different balance of fructose and sucrose. So it can take a little while to really start to taste it. But again, what's cool is, like people you'll see like sprinkle sugar on strawberries, right? Or you're like, why do you need to do that? Strawberries, it's either really bad strawberries or our taste buds have been hijacked. So
basically,
one of the cool challenges is, if you guys haven't done so, eat a couple strawberries and wait 3 to 4 weeks, taste them again, and you're gonna think they just came in season or something because
they're gonna be sweet.
Because they're so sweet. Because now your taste buds will be kind of rebooted, reset, to where you'll be like, wow, this is amazing, and you won't feel like it. So the honey and the maple syrup, yes, you can obviously overdo it, but I would much rather somebody do a little bit too much maple syrup or something, or honey, than do sucralose, right? Yeah, exactly. And you'll find that it's a lot easier to keep in moderation that way. And again, most products have sugar added because it's cheaper, right? In different societies around the world, once societies become a certain economic status, like they start getting things under control, one of the first foods that they start and really becoming more popular are natural sweeteners. It's kind of because it's more expensive, right? So that's why you don't find really cheap prepackaged products with good ingredients, because it costs the manufacturer too much. So that's why I'm making stuff at home or finding high quality products. That's a good place to find. Look at the ingredient list. Don't look at the claims on the front. I've seen paleo bars with sucralose. I've seen paleo bars with rice flour, right? Okay, rice isn't evil, but if you're talking about paleo, right? So don't pay attention to the front, pay attention to the back. And then again, if you guys are also looking at like the gluten-free foods, that comes up a lot. If some gluten-free foods, I would rather you just go ahead and eat wheat because it has less processed ingredients. Because there's a bunch of garbage in some of those. Which is why a lot of people, when they first go gluten-free, they lose weight. And then after a while, I started looking back, because when they first went, I'm going to remove the wheat, I'm going to remove those sugars because those come along with it. After a while, they start looking for too many cheats, like to work around the system, right? And now they've added in even more crazy garbage. And rice flour is almost just as high glycemic as wheat flour. So you have to be really careful not to overdo that, even on the pro level.
Right on. Yeah. Wow, good information. That's great information.
Yeah.
One other question. For some of us who've had to take out the pre-workout and the post-workout supplements, do you have a suggestion for me for the pre-workout? What to do pre-workout and what to do post-workout?
Hang with them, first off, right? Because you're going to go through that caffeine withdrawal. I know you've been taking Elite Energy. If you guys haven't tried that yet, that is going to help your adrenal glands get replenished and repair and wean off of the caffeine, because most of the time all we're getting from pre-workouts is caffeine and then some sugar to make it taste good. So you get a quick blood sugar rush and you get a hormonal caffeine, adrenaline response, and you're feeling great for a little while. That's why there's that crash afterward. So pre-workout, if you've been eating solidly up to that point, you're going to be fine, because you're going to have enough good healthy carbohydrates to fill up your glycogen store and to be able to hit the workout hard. A little caffeine from a natural source is fine if it's a coffee or whatever, but understand sometimes we overthink what we need and as long as you have, it's more important what you ate the day before, right, than it is necessarily the 30 minutes before. And then again, right after, that's why we allow the protein and then good carbohydrate. So the cheapest thing you can do to get a good carbohydrate is get some fruit, right, and right afterward, and that'll help kind of replenish, and your body's needing those carbs right then. So most of the stuff you can get from food to start with, and there's certain things that are obviously easier with supplementation. But think about if you have a big workout you're planning for, the day before, not just the night before, right? Because it's pretty easy for your body to fill up those glycogen restores. We don't need 4 pounds of pasta the night before.
Don't need a carbo load.
Right. Yeah. Just eat balanced the whole time, and then you're going to be pretty much. You're going to keep replenishing what you have.
So to replenish, like after workout, like with a protein.
Yeah.
Say I bring a turkey patty with sweet potatoes.
Yeah, sure, that'd be great. Obviously, if you can eat real food, great. And if you don't have that time, if you do your normal protein, right, and then just make sure that you're getting a good. So I always recommend some fruit with it. People do really well. They think fruit's like this bad thing, but fruit's great, especially right after a workout.
Okay.
Because you know how you feel like you get the munchies, like your body's like, I need some fuel to replenish it. Yeah. So get a good protein and a good carb right after.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds great. Thank you.
All right, guys, keep it going.
Okay,
stay strong. The detox will end, and there are much bluer skies coming soon. All right.
Can't wait.
All right.
Thank you.
Take care.